special interview with a very special man, Trevor Sinclair, joining the Indian coaching staff for the Asian Cup. And look at what he's wearing. India, love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, my thing with Trevor Sinclair, of course, West Ham, of course, Man City, but now he's one of our very own, with the Indian team in Doha ahead of the Asian Cup. Trevor, welcome. Thank you very much for your time. Your first impressions, having been part of the team for some days now.
Yeah, listen, it was a bolt out of the blue, to be honest, when Igor gave me a call, and he said, this was a couple of months ago, I have to say, and he sent me some videos of the team. He told me about the work that he's been doing with the team, and he said he'd like me to consider joining the group. So I had a look at the videos. I was impressed with what I'd seen, and that hasn't changed since I joined the camp. You know, when obviously joining a camp, it's quite difficult because I didn't know anyone personally apart from Igor. The coaching staff have been absolutely sensational to me. The welcome that they've given me. Igor himself has, you know, addressed the group of players and said all the coaches need to be respected, and whatever they say, it might as well be coming from me, because he's built that rapport with the players. And I felt really welcomed by the players as well. Really, really professional group, very respectful, very, very hardworking, and you can see that I'm joining a project that's already started. I can see that straight away. The discipline in the group, the standard of training, the way they apply themselves, and it's almost like a dream job for me, because a lot of the hard work with this group has already been undertaken. So I feel quite privileged to come into a group where a lot of the work, which is very difficult and can be tedious, but it is necessary, has been done. And I can only see this Indian side getting better and better. The spirit's there, the belief's there. Like I say, the application in training is there, very evident. And there is leaders, I'm not going to name names, but there's leaders amongst that group that set standards that the younger players have to adhere to.
I will obviously ask you about the leadership group, but you know, the standard of football you are associated with, the kind of achievements you have, Premier League and England caps and all of that, we are still way, you know, not there. We are still a few notches below, and we obviously aspire to get there. We want to get better. Our supporters want us to be there for the Blue Tigers in a tournament like this. Australia is a better side. Uzbekistan is a better side. Syria is also ranked higher than us. How do you speak to the boys? I mean, of course, any good performance will be a massive boost for Indian football. So when you meet the group and with your kind of pedigree, how do you want to make a difference? What do you tell the boys?
We've not really gone into the opposition as to yet. And I understand what you're saying. When you look at the FIFA rankings, you know, the teams that are in our group, especially Australia, are ranked a lot higher than us. Uzbekistan, you look at their form over the last, since 2021, I think they've had a couple of blips, but their form has been sensational. They're on a really good run. And you actually look deeper than that, and their under-21s team is flying, getting really positive results. So they've obviously got a really good thing going on with their federation and with their international setup. But we've just got to concentrate on ourselves, and from the health and nutrition, from the strength and conditioning coach, from the work rate, which I see the boys putting in, day out, they're heading in the right direction. And you say it's at a lower level. It might be a lower level in talent, but our sport is not just a science, because you do get results where a team with the right spirit and with the right fitness levels and with the right strategies and the right belief and the right support can bring up results that people don't really believe could happen. And that's what we've got to hold on to. You know, I mentioned it in an interview a couple of days ago. I started my career in the English fourth tier. At that moment, when I was 16 to 20, I never dreamed. Well, I did dream, and I worked my socks off to try and achieve. But hand on heart, I really probably would have thought it'd be very unlikely for me to go to a World Cup and play for my national team, England. It happened, and this is the belief. This is the dream that these players have got to have. You know, whether it's the oldest player in the squad, whether it's the youngest player who's just coming into the squad, as a collective, you've got to believe that you can get these results. And that is only achieved with hard work, day in, day out. And from my perspective, I see that day in, day out from this group of players.
I absolutely agree. I mean, as my friend Sachin Tendulkar says, dreams do come true. You've got to work the hardest to make sure that the dream does come true. And that's what is about this group. Sunil Chhetri, for example, told me, I might not be as talented as a Ronaldo, but I definitely can work harder. I can put in my best in terms of my work ethic, in terms of my sports, nutrition, in terms of my food habits. So there you go. That's the kind of spirit that Trevor Sinclair is talking about. Your first thoughts on Sunil Chhetri? I mean, obviously a leader of the group and captain and the scoring and all of that, but still a role model across the world.
Yeah, listen, it's one of them characters that you meet, and he's got a serious side to him. I've seen that already. When things are not exactly to the standards that have been set, whether it's a moment in training, I can see him turn. And that's what you need. You need players with experience who not just set the standards with their own actions and with their own training habits, but also when a player or a couple of players drop below the standards that's expected from this group, I can see the change in him. And he's one of them. Listen, he's a class act. He's one of them characters where, I've only known him a few days, but straight away I know he's a serious character. I know he's serious about winning and competing and trying his best. And he's one of them characters that you'd have in the trenches with you, because you can see that he is dependable. And when you get that one moment where you need a bit of magic in that final third, he's finishing. He's already showcased that to me in training. His finishing is phenomenal. So, I've played with a lot of good players: Ian Wright, Jermaine Defoe, Les Ferdinand, Rooney, Michael Owen, Robbie Fowler. They've all got that killer instinct where when they get that chance, everything seems to slow down for them and they pick the right option and hit the back of the net. And Sunil's no different to that.
So, Trevor, when you play a tournament, again, I mean, Igor keeps telling me, be pragmatic and not unrealistic. But at the same time, I keep telling Igor that all of us want one thing from this team, and that is fight. We want the boys to leave their last iota of energy on the pitch. And at the end of 90 minutes, forget the score sheet, we want to be proud of the fight. As a member of the coaching team, can you tell us that that's what is going to happen?
That is 100% what's going to happen. I mean, the squad is training really hard at the moment, and obviously getting closer to the game, that will start to taper down, and the training will get a little bit less intense, so that we can give our best physical performance, because we need to be physical. We need to run harder. We need to have a better spirit. We need to have a better shape, and we need to have determination, because if you're going to go in with just the same amount of effort and the same amount of running as a team with possibly better talented players than us, there's only one way the result's going to go. We need to work harder, and we need to really fight for one another and fight for the country if we have got any chance at all of getting anything out of this opening game.
So this is, I understand that it's a start, but if there is a longer role or a bigger role going forward, or for example, the Afghanistan World Cup qualifiers, extremely important for us. The Kuwait game on home soil, perhaps the first time India will make it to the third round. Can we solicit the services of Trevor Sinclair?
100%. Listen, I've already made that very clear to Igor. I've got so much respect for him, and even more respect for him now. I mean, we were really close friends, and like I've mentioned before, we were quite similar as players. He was a defender, I was a forward. But we were no nonsense. We was about playing football, going back to our families, and being family men, and being fathers and husbands. We weren't bothered about the razzmatazz and all the other things that go with football. But he was a class act on the pitch. We had a fantastic relationship, and that has been enhanced since I've come and seen what he's done with this squad, and the respect that I see his coaching staff, the players, the medical staff, everyone associated with the Indian national team has got so much respect for Igor, and that's not given.
That's earned.
He's earned that by being respectful, by being hardworking consistently over 4 years. And I've already said, listen, I love being part of this. And if you need me for anything else in the future, I'm there.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, I asked Igor a couple of days back in a detailed interview, what exactly sort of your role, can he outline a little bit? In fact, he was the first one who told me, and I broke the story that you're joining. And he said, one thing, for example, he's looking forward to is improvement in set pieces. He
Yeah.
said, that's something that I'm desperately looking Trevor to sort of contribute to. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, listen, I was a winger for a lot of my career. I played either right wing or left wing. I played up front. I played in that final third. So certainly set pieces. So I brought lots of ideas, and we've been collaborating in the afternoon. So we train in the morning, we have lunch, and then the coaches and the analysts, we go and look at clips. I've brought lots of different ideas that we've started to execute in training. At the end of training, with just a select few players that would be involved in these different set pieces, and we're just going through the motions now, getting the reaction from the players. Do they feel comfortable executing these kind of set pieces? Who's going to take what roles? We've just got mannequins in there, and we're just practicing now, getting the lads all up to scratch with. There's got to be a little bit of acting in there. If you're going to try and catch the opposition out by surprise, you've got to be an actor. You've got to sell it to the opposition that you're not going to do what we are going to do. And that's where we get the advantage, because we know what we're going to try and achieve. But we need to make the opposition feel like, we're going to play a short corner, but it's going to go in the box, or vice versa, or we're going to do. So we've got a few sneaky little set pieces that we're looking at the moment. There's plenty more to practice, but we don't want to overload the players. So we're just dropping one or two in over the next 3 or 4 days. Let them get familiar with it, and once we've got familiar with the movements, we'll be executing that against some of the players that are not going to be involved, and seeing if they can actually execute it. And then when we do that, it's about sharpening that tool, sharpening that move, and making sure there's no errors. On the big day, if we get the opportunity to take one of these set pieces, hopefully the players will feel confident because they've practiced it, and they'll be able to go out and execute it. And if that's the difference between us having a 0-0 and winning the game 1-0, it'll be well worth it. But other than that, obviously I'm part of the coaching staff. We do a lot of post passing drills just to sharpen the tools for the brilliant basics for the players. There's crossing and shooting, there's shooting drills. And I just feel like there's little bits where I can just add a little nuance, add a little bit of reverse movement, give the boys a little bit of imagination to put themselves in different scenarios when they're going through on goal, and just to make them think about it in slightly a different way. And if that calms them down, if that gives them a little extra percentage in their finishing quality, then my job is a good one.
Last two questions. One, I mean, some years back when India played a team like Australia, we would go in with the notion that we are supposed to lose. There was a defeatist mentality. I mean, in the mind, we had already lost the game. Under Igor, I've seen a change. I mean, now India can look people in the eye and say, oh, you know what, we are here to compete. Have you got that sense that they're not overawed by the occasion?
They're not. I know that for a fact. And the reason I know that is because of the work that I see them putting into not only their physical condition, but also the quality in their technical execution on the training pitch. They're not going through the motions thinking we're just here to make the numbers up. They're going through them drills like they know that they need to be spot on with their passing, they need to be spot on with their execution of crossing, they need to be spot on with their finishing, because against top teams you don't get many chances, and you've got to be clinical. And Igor's already mentioned this. You might only get 2 or 3 chances in a game, but if you put them 2 or 3 chances away, that could be the difference between you winning and losing that game. But certainly the way they prepare physically, this is as good as I've seen. When you talk about strength and conditioning, Luca, he's been around the game for a long, long time. I'm learning things from him now over the last few days, and I thought I was quite well equipped. I go to see different people who used to train Cristiano Ronaldo in Manchester every year just to update my methods. Luca has opened my eyes to a different way. There's some of the things that he's shown me on his videos that he does with players, young players that are developing, players that are already established, older players that want to continue at the top of their game. You look at Luka Modric, you look at players like this. The only reason that they're able to play on for so long is because, like even Messi, the strength and conditioning that they put their bodies through to keep that aging process away. it gives you extra years at the end of your career. And I experienced that with Paolo Di Canio. He was an ultimate professional when you talk about going in the gym and getting the absolute best out of your body. These players are doing that. That can level things off against talented players. If them talented players go into the game against us thinking, oh, this is going to be, we should be comfortable here, I think they're going to get a surprise, because physically these boys are in top condition, and that will give you a chance. That is a leveler. That can take away talent. If you've got a group of players that are fit, can run for 95 minutes, compete physically for 95 minutes, then anything is possible.
Wow. So that's the last question. I mean, what is realistic? As at the start of the new year, 2024, I mean, I don't know if you followed last year, the 3 back-to-back tournament wins, massive euphoria. Then there was a bit of a downer. Of course, Asian Games didn't go to plan, and then Mardeka didn't go to plan. Things did not go to plan for Indian football in the latter part, except that Kuwait game. Because the sport has momentum. The sport is on an upswing, on an upward curve. And if this can be sustained, it can genuinely pick up pace in India. So we need every little support that we get for this team, so that they can make the most of it, and then the fans can sort of back this team. What is realistic, Trevor? I mean, can we tell our fans who are all watching this interview, back the team, because you will not be let down?
100% back the team. Listen, I can't predict whether we're going to go through the groups, we're going to get into the knockout stages, but what I can predict is what I see day in, day out, which is a group of players that are professional. They're going to give everything. They're proud of the nation. They're going to give everything for the nation. And they're preparing to be able to compete and hopefully upset some of the big boys in this competition. I'm excited for the players because I can see the work they're putting in and what comes after that. You work now for the rewards later. And if they continue to work and believe in each other, I think they've got a great chance. And also, talking about football in India, for the national team, if you want that continuity, if you want that continued arc in the way that things are improving on, you have to keep on believing in Igor and his coaching staff. And, forget about me, I've only just joined this group, but what they are doing with the players, the belief that I can see amongst these players, the work that they're putting in. There's only one way this team is going, and there's only one way the Indian national team's going if you continue down this road. The due diligence, going in to see the younger players, working with them so they're prepared when they do get that call up. It's very detailed, and I'm quite surprised how detailed it is, but really impressed and absolutely proud as anything to be part of it.
I leave it at that. It's been an absolute delight talking to you, understanding what's going on. Delighted that you feel proud and a part of this setup. We are delighted that you are here, because obviously our hopes have risen. We are an optimistic bunch, and we will keep backing this team, good or bad, more in bad, because that's how sport is. You lose more. We know that. But having said that, we will back these boys, come what may, because we know that they will put in their best effort. And that's what Indian football team needs. You're good for Indian football. Hopefully, this will be a long-term association. Thank you, Trevor Sinclair. Thank you very much for your time, and look forward to some solid performances in the Asian Cup. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Shubhara.